Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining my channel. My name is Calderas, and today we are going to be going over breeding on my server, officially unofficial. If you're interested in joining the server, you want to play here, the link to my Discord will be in the description down below. You don't have to play on my server in order to be able to join the Discord. You can join the Discord and just hang out with us and meet new people and hang out, ask friends questions, and ask me questions if you want to. That's fine. But it's there if you want to join. Today we're going to be going over breeding, and without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. This video is going to be fairly long, I would think. Breeding is pretty in-depth. It's pretty simple once you get the hang of it, but to understand all the little nuances to it, it's going to be probably a fairly decent video. So let's go ahead and get into it. First thing you're going to want to do whenever you're breeding dinos on my server is you're going to want to make sure that you can create a propagator. In order to create a propagator, you're going to need to be level 111, and you're going to need to have a steady inflow of element to be able to do it. And you can get element on my server in multiple different ways. One of the ways that I found is easiest on the server is to tame some tech parasaurs and convert the element that you get from it, element dust that you get from it, into element. But you're going to need a 2500 electronics, which you'll also get from the tech dinos that you are farming. Element you'll get from them. Ingots you'll get from them as well, so it's really no big deal there. Polymer, you can get polymer from any of the other servers, as well as island. We have 3 on the cluster right now, so you can go and kill some carcinos, you can go and kill some penguins with some polymer. Polymer is pretty easy to get. So now that we have our propagator created, we are going to go ahead and place it down, and we're going to get into it. As you can see, I've already got my dinos here. These are the ones that I'm actually going to be breeding up. My Tech Rex is actually completed on hit points and on melee, but there's going to be a demonstration purpose with those here in just a second to show you how to move mutations from one side to the other if you messed up. Have 20/20 mutation. We'll get into that here in just a second. So the first thing we're going to want to do is lay down a propagator. Once you get it where you want it, go ahead and place it down. Now, after you create the propagator on my server, element isn't used for fuel or anything else within the propagator. That's a different fuel type. If you're on a server where the owner didn't change the fuel type, then you'll be using element in the place of the fuel type that I'll be using, which is propellant. So on this server, we use propellant for the propagator. The barrier to entry is a lot lower for propellant versus element, and I wanted players to be able to use the propagator at an earlier stage. So we'll go ahead and add our propellant in. Once you get it, you'll notice that a box pops up that says activate. Once you click the activate button, it's going to consume 1 propellant every 24 hours that it is active. So we'll go ahead and we'll activate it. And as soon as you click activate, you'll notice that 2 buttons appear. One that says prepare dinos for breeding, and one that says holding eggs. Now, excuse me. So, if you click on holding eggs, what this button does is right now, if I put 2 dinos in, let's say the carches, because those are the ones I want to breed. Let's say I put those 2 dinos in, and I tell it to hold eggs. Whenever these 2 breed, an egg is going to pop up right here to the side of them. Now, if we click this button and tell it to drop eggs, the eggs are not going to populate within the propagator. They're not going to show up here in the inventory. Instead, it's just going to pop up right here outside. And if you have a terminal, you will want to set it. I'm holding E on the terminal right now, by the way. We're going to go to options. We're going to go to automation, and the screen's going to pop up. If you have your eggs to drop, you're going to want fertilized egg collection checked. You're going to want to check that, and then you're good to go. And what's going to happen is every time they drop an egg, or they breed and they drop an egg, your terminal is going to pick it up instantly, and it'll be here in this inventory. And the reason why you would want to do something like that was, let's say you were breeding griffins for the vivarium because you want to get element shard. So what you'll do is you'll fill up your propagator until you're at 99, right? So you'll fill up your propagator here with 99 griffins, or, well, 98 griffins, since you got one slot used for your fuel. You'll have 98 griffins. That'll leave you one slot open to be able to generate an egg. But if you have it set to dropping, it's just going to drop all 98 of your eggs right here. 97. It'll be 97 eggs. It'll drop all 97 eggs right here, and your terminal will instantly pick them up, and your propagator will continuously generate eggs. If you had it set to holding eggs instead of dropping eggs, then those 98 griffins will only breed one time. Regardless, they'll only breed one time because your inventory will be full, and they won't be able to, place eggs within the inventory because the inventory is full. So in that sense, if you're going to log out, just set it to drop eggs, build you a couple of the terminals, and have it set to pick up fertilized eggs. Make sure that they're completely empty, and only set to pick up fertilized eggs. That way your guys can continuously breed over and over and over and over, and your terminals will pick up all the eggs that drop and automatically start incubating them as well. So I like having mine set to holding eggs while I'm here. So what we'll do now is, once you've got your fuel in, you've got your dinos in that you want to start breeding, you will click prepare dinos for breeding. And that button's going to turn into start breeding. You're going to left click that one time, and here it's going to show up your mating options. Now here it shows you your name of the dinos that you're actually breeding, the gender, if they can or cannot breed. If they cannot breed, then these check marks here will be gone, and it'll just be a blank box. And then you have your mutation pulse. So normally in vanilla, the mutation pulse, you can only do 2 mutation pulses. Here on my server, we can do 5 mutation pulses. So each mutation pulse will give 2 stat points when successfully mutated. So at vanilla stats, 2 mutation pulses will yield 4 stat points. On my server, we have it set to 5. So 5 mutation pulse will lead to 10 stat points per successful mutation. So what we're going to do is we're going to set the mutation pulse to 5 here. And a quick way to do that, if you have multiple females on your list here, you can just come here to the bottom box and put 5, and then just click start breeding. When you click start breeding, you'll notice here, this will change to 5, and this will tell you how much fuel it's going to cost. And I won't click start breeding, I'll just click enter here so you can see. So 5 mutation pulse is going to cost 5 propellant. On my server, it doesn't cost anything to make a dino be able to breed, and it doesn't cost anything to change genders. And we'll go over that here in just a second too. And there's a reason why I do it that way. So in order to breed these dinos and get mutations into them, the only thing it's going to cost is 1 propellant to activate the propagator, and 1 propellant per pulse that you do for mutation. So all in all, to get started, 6 propellant to breed these dinos. We're going to make this a 0, and I'm going to show you what I was saying earlier about just putting 5 here, click start breeding. You're going to automatically notice here, this is going to change to 5, and then 5 propellant is going to pop up here. It's going to happen really quick, so pay attention. And then 3, 2, 1, real quick. Did you see it? So now we can view the breeding process, and we can see that it's using 5 propellant. So we know that the mutation worked, or that it's working. So once these finish breeding, an egg is going to pop up here. Remember, if I had it set to dropping the egg, then it would drop the egg out here outside of the inventory. But right now we've got it set to holding eggs. And the reason why I like the propagator is because dinos that don't normally lay eggs will lay an egg inside the propagator. It makes it easy. So here we've got our first baby, and it mutated into movement speed. You see the foot and the +10 next to the 52. That means that we mutated movement speed. Now, if this is what you wanted, then you're good to go. Okay? Just take the egg out, hatch the egg, and go from there. But if you didn't want mutation in the movement speed and you wanted it, say, into melee, then this egg is basically pointless to you because it's already got a mutation on it. And while, yeah, you can take this and hatch it, convert it to a female, place it back in, and breed it, and maybe you'll get a melee mutation. I don't like doing that. I like keeping my stuff clean, so I would toss this dino. I wouldn't use it. But let's just say that you wanted movement speed. Okay, this is the dino that you wanted. So, or this is the mutation that you wanted. So we don't need our female anymore. So we're going to take our original female. We're going to put her up. We're going to take our egg over to our incubation station here. And we're going to drop the egg. Now, on this server, if you press the F1 key, it's going to come up with a list of server information. And up here at the top, mods and API info, you can click that. And it gives you a list of API chat commands that you can use. All players can use this. It's free, doesn't cost nothing. I think at worst it's like a 5-second cooldown on some of these. Like hatch will instantly hatch an egg that's in incubation status. So that's the one that we're going to use now. We're going to type in chat. So if you press tab, this is console. This is considered console here, right? So we don't want to type it in that because that's where admins type stuff for commands. That's where you type in your gamma for changing your gamma and stuff. So we don't want to type there. We want to type in actual chat. So we'll bring up the chat. We're going to type /hatch. We're going to make sure that our egg is incubating. And as you can see, it is incubating. But I've also got a fertilized egg collection. So I got to come over here and snatch it and turn that off, because otherwise it's going to keep snatching my egg. So we're going to turn that off. And then we're going to throw out our egg again. We're going to make sure it's incubating, which it is. And then we're going to type in chat, hatch. Instantly hatches an egg. So you don't have to wait 10 hours to hatch an egg. Now, it was a male, so we want to change that to a female. And you can do that on the server by looking at your dino, typing /CG to change gender. And there you go. Now the gender's changed and it's ready for breeding. So we'll pick it up. We'll throw it in here. One quick note. I don't ever move my male unless I'm done for today. Or, I'm done with the mutations. I never move my male. My male stays inside of the propagator at all times. And the reason why I do that is because if you look at the female, right now you see that it has a mutation in the male side, one of 20. If both of these had mutations in them, the egg would have a combination of the mutations. And if you generate mutations above 20, then you can no longer mutate that dino. You can continue mutating the dino, but you won't get stat points increases, right? I think colors would change, but that's it. And the mutation would just continuously increase and increase. And you see some dinos that have thousands of mutations in it, and that's just a garbage dino because nothing's happening. Like, yeah, you can get thousands of mutations, but it's only color. You're not increasing stat points beyond that. Beyond 20, if both sides, male and female, have 20/20, you can no longer generate stat mutations in that dino unless you move those mutations over to one side, either female or male. And for me, I just find it easier to just leave the male in as a clean dino and then make the female the one that does all the mutating. So if we were to breed these right now, again, which we'll go ahead and do, we'll put 5 here, and then make sure that it did. And now we'll wait for the egg. Once the egg pops up, you'll notice that it'll have 2 mutations. It may be 2 mutations on the female side, or it may be one mutation on the female side, 1 mutation on the male side. But there's going to always be, if this one right here, if your female has 1 mutation on the male side, when you breed it with the male, then that mutation is going to move to the female side. So I already know for a fact that this egg is going to have 1 mutation at least on the female side. The other mutation is going to be on the male side because it's a male dino. And I was wrong. Both of the mutations went on the female side. So, yeah. I guess, But it's a hit point mutation. It's actually what I needed. So that's perfect. I'm actually going to keep that. Yeah, I'm actually going to keep that. So the way you can tell is if the female is the one that's only getting the mutations, then if you have an egg that has a mutation on the male side and you breed that dino into the male, then that'll move that mutation from the male side to the female side, but there is always a chance that you could get a mutation on the male side. So if I was to take this dino right now, this egg, and I was to hatch it and breed it into the male, then there's a good chance that the egg that spawns from that will be 2 mutations on the female side, 1 mutation on the male side. Or it could be 3 mutations on the female side. But I wanted to touch over how to move mutations. So if you look at my tech regs right now, Mutations says I have 22 mutations on the female side, 21 mutations on the male side. Now if I take that dino and I breed it into a dino that has 0 mutations on the female, 0 mutations on the male, it will move all of those mutations to the female side. And I will prove that here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead, start breeding. We're not going to do any mutations because there's no need. This one right here is already maxed out on hit points and melee. So we're going to show you how to move 43 mutations are going to be on the female side. At least 43 mutations. It may get lucky and get a mutation on the male side, or it might get a mutation on the female side and be 44. But I know that for a fact, 43 mutations will be on the female side on this egg. See? 43 mutations. And I did that math because 22 mutations on the female side plus 21 mutations on the male side. 22 and 21, that's 43 mutations total. I moved it to the female side. So now this egg can continue getting stat mutations. And as long as one side is below 20 mutations, you can continuously generate stat mutations on the dino. So is, up until a certain point, and that certain point is 255, right? So if you look at my melee stat, it's 254. If I was to take that to 255, 256, I can't take it to 255. It would be 256. If I got it to 256, because each mutation is 2 stat points. So if I got it to 256, then I wouldn't be able to add any levels to this dino in melee. 255 is the cutoff. Once you hit 255, you can no longer add stat points into a dino, period. That's why whenever you play on a server that you can add 300 levels to a dino and you add 255, or say you add all 300 points to melee, it works until the server resets. When the server resets, you lose all those stat points because there's a limit. So the limit is 255. You want to keep it below 255 on all your base stats. And the base stats are all the numbers on the left side of the slash. So you have hit points is 253/0. And that means that their base is 253 hit points. The /0, that 0, is how many stat points I've actually put into it from its leveling process. So here, we'll go ahead and we'll prove that out real quick too. So right now I can put 27 points into this dyno. I haven't messed with it much, but as you can see, it's 0. 53, well, if you look at the hit points there, it says 68.1k hit points. And then it's got parentheses 253-0. That 0 is how many leveling stat points I put into health. So we'll add 1 point. And as you can see, that 0 turned into a 1. We'll ball it back up. And I'll show you here too as well. See, now it says 253/1. So the right side number is how many leveling points you've added to that stat. The left side number is the base stat point of the dyno. And that's what you want to mutate to just shy of 255. But that's how you move stat mutations on dynos. And that's how you breed dynos for stats. So let's say for this one here, it's a health mutation. That's the one I want. So I'm going to go ahead and hatch the egg using the chat command, which if you press F1, go up to mods API, we're going to hatch. Everybody can use these, by the way. So we're going to make sure we type hatch in chat. We're going to get our dyno, and it is a male, so we need to turn that into a female. So we're going to look at our dyno, type in chat /CG, turn it into a female. And there we go. So now we can put our male back in and our female. Now I won't mess with this male anymore because I'm working on hit point mutations, and now I will just breed these two together. We'll add 5 mutation points and wait for an egg. And once the egg hatches, or once we get an egg, make sure it's the mutation that we want. If it is, great. If not, then I'll trash it and I'll wait for the cooldown, the mating cooldown to reset, and then I'll go back and start breeding again. I think that pretty much covers the breeding process on the server. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. You can ask here in YouTube, or you can join the Discord and ask there. Might be better to ask on Discord if you're looking for a quick response. But yeah, that's everything that you need to know about breeding on my server. If you're looking to get mutations, it's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you on the next one.